Okay, let's try this again. Trying to get it so you can see the whole problem. Okay, sorry about that. So here's the next one where you have the first polynomial inside the parentheses and the second polynomial inside the parentheses, but we have the subtraction sign, okay? Now what this means is you must distribute the negative sign to each of the terms in the second polynomial. So we're going to distribute it to this term, to this term, to this one, and this one, okay? That is the trickiest part about the subtraction of polynomials. Okay, so I went to my first polynomial and listed negative 4p to the fourth here. Then I have a negative p to the third. I put the 1 in front of it. I have 6p squared, and a negative p, which I listed as a negative 1p. Okay, now I'm doing my second polynomial where I have to distribute the negative. So instead of writing 7p to the third, I write negative 7p to the third. And notice I've got it in the column where we have p to the third power. All right, I did not list it over here under p to the fourth. Okay, then I distribute the negative over to this one. So it becomes negative 5p squared, which is listed here. Then instead of a positive p, I distribute the negative, so negative 1p. And then I have to distribute the negative over to the negative 4, which turns into a positive 4. Okay, once I have distributed the negative, okay, now I just act like it's an addition problem. So negative 4p to the fourth, I just bring straight down. Negative 1p to the third, negative 7p to the third is negative 8p to the third. Positive 6p squared, negative 5p squared is a positive 1p squared. Negative 1p is a negative 2p, and then plus 4 gets brought down. Okay. So with the subtraction, the key is you have to distribute the negative sign to each term in the polynomial that you are subtracting. Okay, we're going to go over 2 more. There are 2 of these on your homework. They're tricky. I have it listed on your Google document that I'm going to count them as extra credit, but I would like to see you try them. All right, so you can't just skip them, give them a try. Basically, it's 2 problems put into 1. All right, you're doing 2 operations. So here's an example. Find the sum of this polynomial and this polynomial. So you have to do that first, get that answer, then you subtract this polynomial from the answer to the addition problem. Okay, so I have listed here. You need to sum the first 2 polynomials. So I have 2j to the third plus 5jk squared minus 8k to the third. All right, this is where it gets tricky because you've got these double variables. You need to make sure you line things up correctly. Here's the second polynomial that we are adding. So negative 4j to the third goes in this column. Negative 3j squared k. I needed to list way down here at the end. All right, this one is different from this one. Notice how the exponent is on a different variable. Then negative k to the third, I added my 1 and listed it in this column. Right, so then I'm going to add these two polynomials together, and I get negative 2j to the third plus 5jk squared minus 9k to the third minus 3j squared k. All right, so this answer right here is step 1, where we had to find the sum of the first two polynomials. Okay, now it says we need to take that sum and subtract this from it. Now remember, to subtract, we must distribute the negative sign to each term in the polynomial that we are subtracting. All right, so even though you don't see the negative sign, that's what we're doing. So we're going to distribute the negative sign to each of these terms. Okay, so instead of writing a positive j to the third, I write a negative 1j to the third. Okay, instead of writing a negative 9j to the second k, I distribute the negative and it becomes positive. And I had to line it up over here because this is where I've got my j to the second k terms. Okay, then I distribute the negative to the next one. Okay, negative 4jk squared, which gets listed right here. All right, to line up my variables with matching exponents. And then my last negative gets distributed over to this one, which turns it into a positive 1k to the third. Okay, now that I have distributed the negative, it turns into an addition problem where I'm just adding them together. So negative 2 and a negative 1, negative 3j to the third. Positive 5 and a negative 4 turns into a positive 1jk squared. Negative 9 and a positive 1, a negative 8k to the third. A negative 3 and a positive 9 turns into a positive 6j squared k. All right, so this is your final answer. All right, those are tricky. All right, give them a shot, see if you can get them. Okay, last thing I want to go over is there is a problem where they have things written in fraction form. It's just a reminder, since we haven't been dealing with fractions in a while, right? When we're adding and subtracting, you must make common denominators, right? So I took this polynomial, all right, and then I had to list them in my vertical method. So I started with this 1/2 x squared, all right, and then I had a negative 1/4 x squared, which I listed underneath. Okay, then I have a positive 1/4 x and a positive 3/4 x, and then I have the constant 1/2 at the end. All right, so I'm going to combine those. All right, but to combine them, right, I have to turn 1/2 into 2/4 so that I have common denominators. So this is 2/4 x squared. A negative 1/4 x squared is going to turn into a positive 1/4 x squared. 1/4 x plus 3/4 x, they both have common denominators, so it turns into 4/4x plus 1/2. Okay, I could go ahead and change the 4/4 into a 1x, or actually we could drop the 1 and just say 1/4 x squared plus x plus 1/2. Okay, so 8th grade, give them a shot. Open up your Google document. You are going to need to write your problems out on paper. All right, so those of you who like to try to do them in your head, don't, especially when you get to these problems where you've got double variables with the exponents on different variables. You're going to need to line them up, all right, to make sure you are adding the correct things together. Don't forget to click on the turn in button when you are finished. And I hope you and your family have a good day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.